Lead here in the 11th minute. Evangelinos versus Lavercombe. Here we go. Evangelinos. Saved by Lavercombe. Not a lot of power, but a decent save from...
Welcome back to Footy's Finest. I'm your host, Tom Ordell.
And I'm your other host, Lucas Nuttall.
Today we welcome FC United number 1, Dan Lavercombe.
Dan signed for FC a few years ago and has been keeping the sticks a safe place ever since.
So before we kick off, we're going to ask you a bit of a different question that we ask all our guests. What's your favourite perfume?
Oh, perfume.
Switching.
I'm not sure, you know. If you said aftershave, I have to say Creed.
Yeah.
Well, we have been saying aftershave, but we thought we'd just switch it up a little bit and see what the reaction was.
I'm not sure. I don't know a favourite. What would you say, boys?
Oh, mine's Paco Rabanne. 1 million.
Paco Rabanne?
I don't know. I had a phase with Sauvage, but I'm sort of feeling more Burberry at the minute. It's a naughty one. You know what I mean? It's quite nice.
I do like a creamy though.
Yeah. Creed's one.
Yeah.
So we'll start off properly now, Dan. Let's begin with your time at FC. So how did coming to FC and joining FC come about for you?
It was quite quick, really. It was sort of I left filed towards the end of the season before I came, and then I was sort of going around a few clubs at that sort of level. I went to Hyde briefly. I know you probably don't want to hear that, but I went there, trained with Hyde a couple of times, and then I think Brian rang me saying, "Do you want to come down to FC?" And then from there, I trained with them a couple of times, and obviously that was where I'd much rather be than Hyde.
Yeah, fair enough. So, how do you feel like the team's done this season so far, performance-wise? Obviously, we're just short of the playoffs at the minute, but how do you feel like it's been?
Yeah, it's been quite an up and down one, really. I think obviously it's tough, and we've lost quite a few players recently, haven't we? With Rees going, Cal getting injured, quite a few loans going back. So it's been quite tough, but we have had good results. I think we're not far off really pushing into the playoffs, but obviously still quite a way to go, and we're hopeful that we can still get in.
We did have a phase this season of a bit of a spell of just winning, didn't we? Really?
Yeah.
Towards the start of the season, we just went on a proper good winning streak, and then it crumbled down a little bit when we lost a few of the loans like Will Russ and Joe. Who was the other one? Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, I think obviously at this level it's hard to have like a big squad really. So when we've got everyone fit, I think we're a really good side. But I think obviously if you lose a few players, it can weaken the team a bit, and I think that's happened a few times over this season. So we haven't quite had that consistency, I wouldn't say.
Yeah. So what's your sort of view? Obviously, we have as we mentioned with the loans, we sort of tend to get a spell of loanees, and we had that really good run. Yeah. So what's your sort of view on that?
Obviously, it's good. It can be a cheaper option for us. But obviously, if people do well, then their parent club are going to want to take them back and give them out to a high level. And if they don't do well, obviously, they're not going to improve us. So it's difficult. You've got to find the spot where you can get players in, but they want to stay for a longer period. Because if they do too well, as I said, obviously their club's going to want to take them back and get them out at a high level. So yeah, they can be good for us, but obviously not as good as long term as signing permanently.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, really? So a little bit about the team, though. Who do you reckon, like in general, when you're training on the pitch on a Thursday, I think you train, don't you?
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursdays.
Who's the best finisher? Because obviously you're a keeper. You get shots stuck at you. Best finisher.
I think before he left, I'd have to say Reeves.
It was good, wasn't it?
Reeves was excellent this year. You can obviously tell by the goals he scored. And I don't know, it varies. It depends on what you like. In and around the box, I'd say obviously, so Reeves was very good. Joe Robert Grant was very good finisher. If you're looking a bit further out, I think Chaz got a good strike on him.
Yeah, he just shot on each
other. He can score from distance, as we've seen a few times. So it varies. Sorry, what's that?
No worries, Dan. I'll just turn you up over a bit. Well, there's actually a bit of a theme in the stand that whenever Potsy shoots, we always tell him to pass it because we don't believe in Potsy's shooting ability.
Yeah, I've seen it more in training, but I've seen him score a few. I've seen him. I remember, last year, Baysford scored from distance, didn't he?
Yeah, we're in.
Yeah, he's got that in him. So hopefully we can see it a few more times.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously in Brussels 2 weeks ago now, you came into the bar with Dante. Who do you reckon's your best friend in the squad?
I think obviously I spend a lot of time with keepers, so we stick together. The keepers, like the keeper coach, if you know Cal. We've got a few younger lads, Alfie and Matthew, coming in and train. And obviously I spend a lot of time with DJ. DJ's the other keeper. Not always there, but yeah, he's a good lad. So we always stick together, I say, keepers.
Yeah. So another story about Brussels. I heard you got pulled over by the police when you were on the scooters.
Me?
In the city centre, a few of the players apparently got pulled over by the police on the scooters.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard that story. You have to enlighten me on that one.
You have to ask me about it tomorrow, but I've heard that were a story that happened.
If you hear about that, you have to let me know because that sounds interesting. That
I think it were Adam Dodd actually.
Really?
I think it were Doddy and Potsy because they stayed for a bit longer. I think they got pulled over because you're only allowed one. But them scooters, the ones there.
Yeah, I know. I see loads of them flying about,
Yeah, you're only allowed one person. Apparently, they had both the girlfriends on back, so I think they got pulled over.
Yeah, that makes sense. They were there, so that probably did happen. Then. I have to find out about that and let you know.
Just walk beside them while they're on the scooters.
Yeah, exactly.
So on some more about with Renault. What's your sort of relationship with Renault and?
Yeah, Renault's been great, mate. Honestly, I know outside of the club, I know a lot of people have different opinions of him. But since I've been there, he's been nothing but he's been excellent. Like he's been great with me, great with all the lads. He's firm with us, but he's fair, I'd say, most of the time. Yeah. So I can't complain. He's been great.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he's passionate. Every game he always, gathers the lads, tells them to come over and, clap the fans off.
Yeah, that's what you want, really. You want that. You don't want someone who's timid, who doesn't really care. You can tell that he does care about winning. So yeah. I like that about him. Yeah, I think it's a good thing for the club, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So on that sort of thing, obviously, with Renault, we see him every week. It's sort of, I think it's not so much forcing, but he does push the players over to the fans a bit, and it's, we love it, sort of thing. It's good to see that. In a loss, in a win, no matter what, the players are always with us. But what's your specific view about the relationship with the fans?
Yeah, I think it's great, mate. I think for the this club specifically, the fan base is excellent. So it gets us through games sometimes. So it's only right that we obviously show a bit of support back after games, during games, whenever we can, really. So, yeah, it's great, mate.
Of course, a lot of other teams in this league, they don't really have the same connection, do they? They don't bring as many fans. They don't. After the game, go and see the fans in the bars. Not many teams that do that.
Exactly. It's unique, isn't it, really? Especially for this level, or any non-league, really. It's a good fan base for any non-league team. If you look at the National League, there's probably a bigger fan base than some in that league as well. So, yeah, definitely. It is. It does get us through games. It's really important, especially at home. We travel away as well. I say on quite a lot of games, we bring more fans away from the games than home fans.
Yeah.
That's great, that
almost good game, really, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
It is starting to grow, though. You can see, because obviously you've been playing in the non-league now for a good 6-7 years. Because obviously, I can't remember. We'll go on to afterwards, but it is growing. The fan base of different teams. You saw who do we play the other week? I think it was Matlock on a Tuesday night, and you don't expect them to bring that many fans, but they bring they packed out their little side. To be fair to them, and it's definitely growing. I think.
I think the standard of non-league's got a lot better ever since I've sort of been playing. I think back in the day, non-league was just sort of big lumps who sort of just played pretty part-time. But the standard now, even in our league, there's a lot of teams that play good football, and it's really competitive. I think, especially in our league, I think any team can beat anyone really.
Definitely.
If you don't turn up and play,
from first to about South Shield's obviously a bit clear now, but from the playoff spots, the points are so tight and down all the way down to about 15th. The points, it's the maximum point difference from 15th is about 10 points. Really, it's really tight.
That's what I mean. You've got even teams that want. We've seen this year. We played Liver's Edge. We've got the weekend already.
Yeah.
They've beat us at home, and then we've gone and beaten South Shields to the top. Anyone can win on any day. You've got to be at it every week. Yeah, and even the results we see week in, week out, there's some crazy results you wouldn't expect.
Liver's Edge won the last weekend just gone, didn't they? I forgot who they played, but I know Liver's Edge won again. Yeah,
they've picked up a lot recently because at the start I think they were not the whipping boys, but they weren't picking up many points. So they've picked up. They've started to pick up wins. They're getting clean sheets. They're looking at a decent size. It's going to be a tough game.
Definitely be a difficult game tomorrow. I think. Yeah, going to be tough to break them down because obviously when you're not doing so well in a league, obviously you go a bit more defensive, don't you? Really, just natural. So they're going to be down. And
I think it's obviously our ground's probably one of the biggest in our leagues. I think teams naturally raise their game against us. That makes it a bit more difficult to It does seem like that as well. I think we seem to be better away at the minute because teams have to come out and play against us. Like, whereas at home they can sort of camp in and try and hit us in the break. Like, so it sometimes makes it a bit easier if they do that.
Well, that's another thing with the fans. Like when you're coming out and bring on United, and you come out, then you run into the net. So what's the feeling for you? Whenever all the crowd singing like, "Oh, Danny, Danny, Danny."
It's great, man. Honestly,
it must be well good, mustn't it?
Yeah, it does really get you up for the game as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's great to hear. It gets me really going. And then really gets fully focused, and then we're in the game, and then go from there.
It's good, isn't it?
So, what is your best game in an FC shirt today? What do you think has been your best game?
Game in an FC shirt. Personally, or what I've most enjoyed?
Go on, do both.
Yeah,
both. I think the one I've most enjoyed. I think obviously we beat Guiseley late this year, but when we beat Guiseley late in the FA Cup to set up the Doncaster tie, I remember that game. It was absolutely hammering down with rain. I think the ref said if it wasn't in COVID times, they would have called it off. And obviously we scored a late winner, didn't really get through to the FA Cup. I think that was unreal. It would have been even better if we had more fans. I think it was only limited to about 600, wasn't it?
COVID
even then, I really enjoyed that game. We beat Buxton away last year. That was a really good game. Yeah, they were top of the league at the time. I think that started a big, good run for us, really. We started pushing towards the playoffs.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that games. In terms of me, I'm not sure, really. I don't think any particularly stand out over another, really. I like to think I'm quite consistent, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully just more that than anything, really.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, because I was thinking about this before, South Shields at home, last game of the season, last season. I think for you that will probably one of your best games I've seen you play in the FC shirt.
Yeah, that was a good game. I remember that. We lost one there, didn't we? Towards the end.
Yeah, they beat us in the last minute, I think, didn't they?
Yeah. That's happened quite a few times, isn't it? Where we played well and then sort of lost games late last year.
It's games like that just ruins it. Games like that where you're on top. Obviously, that was the last game of the season, so it didn't really matter. They'd secured playoffs, and we couldn't get playoffs anymore. But it's games like that in the middle of the season that ruin your confidence massively when you're battered.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, really, isn't it, between making playoffs and not really. Like you say, it's fine margins, and those sort of things will come back to play at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely will.
But I mean, sort of saying that, it's more like obviously we got South Shields at home on the Tuesday night this season, and we beat them in the last kick of the game with Donahue. Yeah. But I mean, it's a 50-50. I mean, you can get the games that go your way in the last minute. But
yeah, we've had a few more this year. We had obviously a few that have come for us this year. We had Matlock, obviously, where Cal scored the free kick late on. We had Guiseley the other week. We scored late. That was a good game.
Well, his debut, but he's already played, hasn't he? Though.
So, yeah. But even Matty's goal the other week against Guiseley, that was obviously I can see it from the other end all erupted, and that was amazing, really, to watch that. Especially considering we're down to 10 men, we were up against Kosh, like hanging on for a point.
As well, yeah. Actually, on that game, because I don't think it were a red card personally. Obviously, you were a bit closer than me. What do you reckon?
It's one of them. I can understand either way. If he's give it, I can understand why he's give it because he's the last man.
Yeah.
But I think the attacker, I don't know his name, but he's taken a heavy touch. I was there. I would have picked the ball up even if Halsey had not fouled him. So I think Curtis was around as well. So it's one of them. It's 50-50 really. I can't really complain too much, but I think it probably wasn't a red card.
Yeah, well, on again the South Shields topic, we've obviously meant to play them already away, and that would have probably been one of the biggest crowds of the season, wouldn't it? They bring it too, and we bring a lot, and but now being put on a Tuesday night, that's got to have a massive impact. That because there's not going to be half as many fans that there were going to be at that game, is it?
Yeah, it is tough, like because I think I've only played there really on a Tuesday. I think last year it was a Tuesday, wasn't it? I think in the COVID season it was a Tuesday as well. But yeah, it's not ideal really. It's one of the biggest ones of the season. So ideally, if you want to try and keep it on a Saturday, don't you?
Yeah.
I still think it'll be a good crowd. I still think it'll be not bad.
We'll bring them out. We just obviously if it were on a Saturday, there were 4 coaches or something going to the one on the Saturday because
it is a shame, isn't it? Really, because especially for this though, it is incredible really to have what it'd be about 3,000-4,000. I reckon they would have got there.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I think over 3,500. I think because
Yeah,
they bring 2,000 on their own, and we would have brung a lot of fans because it's not even just the game; it's a day out in Newcastle as well. Because
exactly. Yeah, but it is for you. Yeah, we got a game and then straight back home. But I wish we could join you really. But yeah, it is a shame because it would have been a good atmosphere to play in. It is quite unique for this level, really, isn't it? To have 3,500.
yes, that would bigger than like some League Two team.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's really good, and they're the best games to play in. Really, like, yeah, everyone's up for it. Everyone's on their game. Like, so yeah, they're the ones you want to play in, really.
Yeah.
So take us back to your roots a little bit. Where did you pick up being a keeper? Because I mean, we hear it a lot. A lot of people.
I think primary school. I think obviously like I used to play outfield. I used to play like obviously in midfield. I think one time I just went in goal, like we didn't have a keeper. I just sort of stayed there ever since. Really, I wasn't bad, and then yeah, stayed there ever since. I didn't really have much of an academy like sort of upbringing. I played for my local Sunday team for most of the time. I went to Exeter for about 6 months when I was about 10 or 11. I didn't really enjoy it. I just wanted to play with mates at that age, really. So I sort of left there, and then where did I go from there? Yeah, I sort of stayed with my Sunday team until I was about 15. Went back to Exeter for a few months, got released from there, and then it was sort of luck really that I stayed in football because I knew the daughter of Torquay's under-18s team. I sort of jokingly said, "Do you need a keeper?" And I sort of from there I sort of ended up signing for them without them even really seeing me play. Obviously, like I knew people there that obviously knew people that knew about me. So they'd obviously like asked people, but they'd never really seen me play before they signed me into the youth team. And then obviously, yeah, I went from there, went into the youth team. We done quite well in the youth team, really. We got to third and fourth round of the FA Youth Cup each year I was there. Played Arsenal, West Brom. And then towards the end of my youth team, I just broke into the first team, played 5 games before the end of that season, and then stayed in for the next season and played for there, really.
Yeah, so that's how it started. But so you just mentioned them about academies, playing against some good academies. Did you play against any big names that have gone big now?
There's a few. We played Arsenal obviously in the Youth Cup, and they had Chu Ratcom, who was obviously scoring loads at
French.
what was it now? Middlesbrough. He played Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Played in that game. Alex Iwobi, yeah. So they were a good side at the time.
Quite big names.
Yeah, it was only at Boreham Wood though, and not the Emirates, unfortunately. But yeah, they were a very good side. We played West Brom, and I can't think of any really stand out there that have gone on to have big careers. But yeah, there would have been some players who played against just in league games. I think obviously when Hereford were about, Jarrod Bowen played for Hereford. And he's obviously done really well. But yeah, there's quite a few.
Early on in the FC days, Stocksbridge Park Steels he played for as well. Jamie Vardy. I've got a picture of him. It looks crazy that when you think about it. It was around 25 when he'd gone pro for Leicester. Really,
he loved it.
That's what I mean. It's crazy when you get to that age. You don't really expect to be pushing on this, even into league football, let alone like the Premier League. I think it's crazy, really.
Because a lot of footballers now, like Ethan Winery, Arsenal, he's 15, making. Yeah. He's younger than me. I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing with my life. It's weird. Yeah. But yeah, it's mental. I don't know if you know Ben Foster. He actually, he's got a podcast, and I was listening to that, and he got signed. He was a chef. I think he was 20 or 21, and he played for his Sunday team, and I think someone came in, something like that, and someone came in the restaurant or something like that, and he ended up getting scouted at 21 for Man United. He'd only played for his Sunday league team, so it's mental how people get scouted nowadays.
Yeah, it is crazy. I think it says a lot about like just playing football at a young age. Like there's a lot of like kids in academies that sort of just are happy just sat in the 23s, not really doing much training, maybe collecting a bigger wage, but it's better off like going out on loan, even at like a non-league, just get games in, even Sunday league, just get that experience in. Really,
rather be playing, wouldn't you, than just
yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of keepers, even Jordan Pickford. I think he's had about 6-7 loans. He was at Darlington. Yeah, like all that is actually better off, really. I think.
And now he's ended up being England's #1 keeper. So
exactly, yeah.
think it's more like you mentioned as well with the quality of non-league. It's a better place to send your players to get experience, and I think that's why FC is so good at attracting these players, because we've had
big fan base.
Yeah, massive fan base. It's like playing in the crowd you're going to be expected. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very unique, really.
Yeah,
it's very.
It is. Yes, I mean, it does give you like very good experience compared to, you obviously get the competitiveness and like the physicality of like the non-league, but you still get the, I don't know. It's not really pressure. I wouldn't say at FC, because like, the fans are always behind you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was sometimes like it can get on your back a little bit, but no, I think at FC they always stick with you. Like, do you know what I mean? And
At the end of the game,
yeah, it's a good experience. Really, it bodes well for going into the league football if they're going to step up into their senior teams. Like,
yeah, well, of course we had Will Stanley earlier on in the season, didn't we? You were a really, really good keeper, Will. Did you speak to Cliff? You were injured at the time, that's why he came in. But did you speak to him much?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, like I was at training even when I was injured doing running and stuff. Like, and I think he's a very good keeper. I can see him pushing on and getting at the end of this year. Whether he stays at Chester, I'm not sure, but he'll get a good club and hopefully he'll go on and do well. Really,
definitely, he's a really good keeper.
Yeah.
Just on the injury you had at that time, because there was a few different things going around. It was one of them. Is what actually was that injury? Because there's some strange stories.
In the Curzon game, I've gone up for a cross towards the end and like collided with one of their players, and as I've landed, I've dislocated like my finger in a couple of places. So obviously they popped it back at the time, but it was not really a thing I could play on with. Like played on for the last 10 minutes or so, but then sort of you don't want to make it any worse. So I had to have a few weeks like, away from footy, like just let it recover. Because I've not really had many injuries really throughout my career. I think when I've had injuries, it's been like proper ones. I've like broke my tib and fib, fractured my hip, and then just on my finger. That's about it, really.
Yeah,
I've not missed too many for injuries, so I don't really like being out, really.
Yeah, no one does really, do they? But done a bit of research of you. Obviously, you were just talking about your past. What was your time like at Wigan?
Wigan, yeah, it was obviously came straight from Torquay to Wigan, and I was only young. I would have been 19, but yeah, it's a big step up at the time. Considering I'd had half a year as a professional. Obviously, I had 2 years in the youth team at Torquay, but I only had half a year at professional at Torquay, and then to go into a championship side, train every day. Like the step up was like it's quite big, really. So obviously, that took some getting used to, getting it up to the fitness levels and speed and everything. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I improved a lot at Wigan. But it did take some adapting. It maybe come a bit too soon for me. I maybe should have stayed for another season at Torquay to get a bit more experience. But yeah, I was better for it. Obviously, the training level was big, a lot sharper and stuff like that. So yeah, obviously put me in good stead going forward.
So they do sort of say like being a keeper, you have to be the fittest man on the pitch, really, don't you? I mean, I know it sounds silly, but
yeah, in a way,
it's not that.
Yeah, it's more. I'd say sharpness is obviously a big thing, but that obviously comes with fitness. You can't just roll off and just tell them playing goal like.
Yeah.
So obviously, especially at higher levels, like the speed of the game is a lot quicker than people realise watching on TV and that. So you have to be sharp and stuff like that to and quick around your goal. So it does make a difference. Like.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you were pro at Wigan, weren't you? You were pro, weren't you? So what was it like? So going from pro at Wigan and then coming back down to semi-professional at a team like FC and like you said, a Hyde and bouncing from all these clubs.
Yeah, and obviously in between Wigan, I went to Fyle briefly, but I didn't really get much game time there. Like I say, it's different. Obviously, some managers like this, some managers don't really like us. So I only played 6-7 games at Fyle, so I had a lot of time off. So I needed to play, really. That's the thing. So obviously coming to FC, just getting games under the belt. I've also had two and a half, so with the COVID seasons of playing. So it stands you in good stead. Obviously, you want to be training full time, but I still think it's not massively different. We still train twice a week, whereas
Tuesday,
full time, obviously 3, maybe 4, depending on games at midweek. So it's not massively different. Obviously, I think the standard is still very good. I just think there's a bit of obviously intensity of training every day, fitness levels that make it a bit different. Obviously, the step up really.
Yeah, definitely. Well, but a comment on AFC Fyle, the supposed plans when they went pro was to be in the Football League by 2023. So that's not gone very well.
Yeah, it didn't really work out, that did it?
What a shame.
Oh no.
Yeah, when you put yourself out there, like it's never going to end well, is it? Really?
No. Too soon, I reckon. They've targeted too soon. They will get there, I think, eventually, but they just need a bit more time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a different question. Have you ever been on a game show before?
Game show?
Yeah.
I've not really. No, have you?
I haven't. I've been a host before.
Been a host, yeah.
But what is your favourite game show? Just out of interest.
I'll say the Chase, I think.
Chase. I do like the Chase. Yeah,
It's
I do like the Chase, yeah.
It's Tipping Point.
Yeah, no, tipping point is a favourite, to be fair.
Tipping Point, yeah.
I don't like the horse or that Ben.
No,
creeps me out a little bit. I don't like it.
So we're gonna do a game show. It's a Footy's finest game show, and it's it's called Tom's Quickie. So it's 15 quick fire questions.
Yeah.
It's literally, don't think about it too much. First thing that comes to your head, spit it out, and then we'll keep it going.
Sounds good. Okay.
Go for that, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. All right, let's get going. So, question number 1, what team do you support?
Talking United.
Question number 2, what's your favourite colour?
Red.
Yeah, good lad. What's your go-to beer?
Go-to beer. San Miguel, I think.
Good choices.
Do you collect anything?
Actually, saying that beer caps sort of thing. I do collect beer caps.
I do the same. To be fair, I'm not going to say anything.
I collect beer mats personally. I've got a collection.
I like that as well. Yeah, good.
Stone Island or CP Company?
Or Stone Island.
Good lad. Get the badge in. Have you met anyone famous?
Anyone famous?
Just anybody.
I'm trying to think.
Well, you've already told us.
I've been to football games. I've met for the most famous person. I'd say.
Got to be Alex.
Van Dijk.
Oh, Van Dijk, we love that. Lovely. Right, fair enough. Yeah. What's the best pot noodle flavour?
Oh, I can't say I'm a big pot noodle fan, really. Sorry, I'm an athlete. I've got to stay healthy, haven't I?
Come on, pot noodles. Come on.
Just say chicken and we'll be happy. Chicken and mushroom and we'll be happy.
Chicken. I do like beef ones actually. I'm gonna say.
That's it. We're going
to. If you were offered a spot as a prime minister, would you take it?
Probably not. No.
Where was your first holiday?
First holiday was Tenerife.
Same.
When's your bedtime?
The bedtime, I reckon about 11 o'clock, I'd say.
Oh.
What's the worst job you've ever done?
Not had many. I've briefly done a job delivering for Amazon. I didn't enjoy that too. Can't lie.
No. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Michelle Keegan.
Oh.
Was that made up for the pot noodle? Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah.
What's on your bedside table?
If you have one.
I'm not sure. Really. Oh, there's loads of PS4 games.
Fair enough. What was the worst thing you did as a child?
Worst thing I did as a child? Oh, I got caught skipping school. That wasn't great, really. I was quite a good child, mate. I wasn't too bad. And
the final question, feel free to expand. What is a conspiracy theory you 100% believe in?
That's a great question.
That is a tough one, that. Put me on the spot there. I'd have to say there's quite a lot around 9/11. I have to say there's quite a lot of cover-ups inside of there. I think.
Not getting too. I've got my opinions on that, but
I won't go into too much detail. Too controversial, but yeah, there's quite a few around there. So.
No, I do agree with that one. To be fair, so
yeah,
you don't want to get cancelled before we even started.
Yeah.
How did I do there? Not bad.
Yeah. You haven't actually won anything. We've not got that budget, but yeah, you can tell all your friends you've had a quickie with Tom O'Dell. So
okay,
win really, isn't it?
So, when you go famous, I'll tell everyone about
that. Lovely.
So, you were just saying then about PS4 games. Are you a bit of a PS4 player?
Not as much as I used to be. Still every now and then, really, but yeah, not as much as I used to when I was younger.
Well, let's move on to more general questions now. Do you think goalkeeping is more difficult nowadays? Because goalkeepers, you're very much relied on with your defenders to be good on the ball, whereas back in the day it's more of a, they oof it up or they just smash it basically. But now you're very much relied on. I mean, with FC it happens quite a lot. You're very much relied on to be good with your feet and very technical.
I think it obviously depends on the team, the manager, like how they want to play. Yeah. But I think it's definitely harder than it was back in the day. Obviously, the pass back rule where you could just pick it up. I think the game's a lot quicker now, which means like obviously keeps has to be a lot quicker. I'd say it's not quite as physical as it used to be back in the day.
No,
but obviously, yeah, like just launch across in the box from anywhere. In that sense, it's easier. But obviously, like I say, in the sense that it's a lot quicker. Obviously, you got to be better with your feet. A lot of more teams play out from the back.
Yeah.
In that sense, it's obviously harder than it was back before.
Yeah, it's playing out from the back's becoming like it's happening all over.
Really, yeah.
That's what I mean. Even in non-league now, to see teams playing from the back, we play out from the back where we can.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite common now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So do you have like a goalkeeping inspiration? Someone you look up
I did like when I was younger. I did like Pepe Reina. I always thought he was class for Liverpool. Yeah, he was dead quick. His distribution was good. Good shot stopper. So yeah, I really liked him. As I say at the time when I was growing up, Petr Cech, obviously, one of the best in the front at the time. I did like him. I think he's very good. These days, I think Alisson and Edison stand out in the Prem.
Yeah. I want actually what your opinion is on Edison, because he's very much a 12th man, isn't he? Really, he's sort of
obviously in terms of shot stopping, not as good as Alisson, I'd say. And I'd say obviously De Gea's better. I've liked Manuel Neuer for a while.
Yeah.
I think in a minute Alisson's obviously the number one in the Prem.
He is, yeah.
Just like to comment on what you said there, Tom. It can't be a 12 man because there's only 11 players. But
yeah,
it'd be more of an 11 man.
He is the 11th.
11th outfield player, you could say.
No, you didn't have me confused there.
Got me nervous. Right, so Dan, just speaking about your inspirations and of a goalkeeper. But how many pair of gloves do you own? Goalkeeping gloves. Do you keep
gloves? I reckon through a season I go through. I reckon about 10, 12 gloves.
Really?
Yeah, and that's only part-time. I reckon if I was full-time, I reckon at least 20.
Wow. I thought you were going to say like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
but...
I thought it was going to be
like... No, quite a lot. They do, when you wear them a lot, especially on the Astro we train on, that they go off, they're quick. Like, so.
Yeah. You sponsored by any glove companies?
I'm not at the minute. I have been. I did have, when I was at Torquay, obviously the Pro Direct warehouse is in Torquay, so I got loads of free gloves off them, really. So, but at the minute now, I just buy my own. Like,
what's your favourite brand of glove? Umbro.
The ones are at a minute. A brand called Solo. A friend recommended them to me, and they've been really good to be fair. So yeah, they're quite cheap and they've done well for me. So I keep using them.
Do you use that jelly stuff? Well, I don't know what it is.
Spray,
like.
So that
sticky spray thing. Yeah.
I don't know. DJ uses that. It does look quite sticky. I do use Vaseline occasionally, which you might think is a bit weird. Like when it's wet, like we put Vaseline on, it makes them dead sticky. Like, but yeah, when someone first told me that, I thought they were taking a mick. Like, but yeah, it's quite good, really.
So I know it sounds a bit weird, but like I've heard stories about goalkeepers having like mementos in the gloves. Like, I can't remember who it was. It was a keeper who used to keep like a note in his glove off his granddad or something. I can't remember who it was, but it sounds bizarre. But it doesn't have to be like something in your gloves. But do you have any sort of mementos or good luck chants?
No, I'm not really. I don't really do anything like superstitious or anything, really. No, obviously. No, not really. We record all the games. Like you might see at the home games, we have a big pole behind the goal. With a little GoPro on. So yeah, that's the only thing we do regularly, really. There's not even a superstition, but no, not at all, really. Sorry.
Like what even like if you're walking down the streets, do you avoid 3 grids?
I don't really know. No. I just go with the flow, mate. I just take it as it comes.
I walk out the way and I salute magpies and everything.
I think it's weird.
Proper weirdo, yeah. Look, that's how we used to determine football though, and 90% of the time, all right, if we saw 3 magpies, it'd either be 3-0 win, 2-1 win, or 3-0 loss. If we saw a wedding on
you're seeing tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping to see it, really.
No, there is a lot of people that do have that. I know loads of people like obviously like to come out in a certain position in the line, like obviously put a certain boot on first, but no, I've never really got into that really. Me, I was prepared for things the same way, but
I've always thought you did, because when you come out, you always run up and you smash the crossbar. You like do a little jump and smash the crossbar, don't you? You do that. I've noticed.
I do actually. Yeah, I don't mean to do it on purpose. Like, must just be like natural. I don't know why.
Yeah. Sort of habit, yeah. I suppose,
it must just be a habit. You mustn't even notice it. It just must become natural. But yeah, every game you always come up punch the bar and then you do your little bounce. And...
Yeah, it might be. It's just more a thing, I think, just to get myself going. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just subconsciously do it, really.
Well, you are the first FC United first team player that we've got on so far.
Have you got any more in the pipeline or
not? I don't know if you
can spoilers, but
I think we have, though. Might have to discuss on camera. But the thing I've wanted to ask you, and I've wanted to ask this for a while, the little huddle before the game with the team. What does actually get said in that huddle? Obviously, you might not be able to tell us, but
it's just it's usually chat. The captain, which is usually a child, obviously, will just like have just a few little sentences at the start of the game, just get everyone going, sort of thing. Just more relay what the gaffer said, sort of thing. Really, like just it looks good. It like gets everyone sort of in the zone, sort of thing. Really, it's just more for that. Really.
We always sing the FC Corky song.
Not yet. I might try that tomorrow, see if it works.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I can't go tomorrow, so I'm pretty.
Oh, shame.
I'll give you a wave in the back of the MRE.
Yeah, I'll see you there tomorrow.
How do you handle moving around the country, like playing around? Obviously, when you've played for teams and travelling to away days and things.
Torquay being a big one because that's just far away.
Yeah, Torquay. Obviously, I'm from Torquay originally, so that was all right playing at home, obviously. But yeah, away games there were very, very long. Obviously, we travelled the night before, but obviously you have teams like Gateshead where it could take like 9-10 hours to get there on the day before. Like, so yeah, if you're not winning, that's not a good journey back. Like, but yeah, so I'm used to journeys really. From FC, our fairest is probably about 3 hours. So I'm used to long journeys, so that's quite a breeze for me. But yeah, in terms of living, I've lived up here. I live in Wigan now. I've stayed there like for about 6-7 years really. So I'm quite settled up here really. So
you live from when you played for Wigan still? Oh.
Yeah, I moved. I moved up here when I played for Wigan and just stayed here really. So yeah, that's my situation at the minute.
Do you have any hobbies outside of football or any different sports?
I wouldn't say hobby. I play golf, not that particularly well.
Everyone we've asked, every person we've asked, Greg, Rory, and another secret guest that we will not reveal, they've all been a golf person.
Yeah, I think obviously because in football, like it's quite light. It's quite light, just socialise really. And I'm not very good, I wouldn't say. I end up more angry after playing golf than I started. Like, but yeah, on the odd occasion I do play well. I quite enjoy it. Like,
I'm personally not a fan of golf, to be honest. I just find it boring. I don't mind watching. I'll go into driving range. I don't mind like smashing a few balls, but I find it very boring. Me.
Yeah.
The 18-hole ones.
Yeah, it does drag towards the end, I think, especially if I'm not playing well. Like.
Yeah. So do you know more so like when you're playing in these away games, so with the South Shields, how do you sort of balance that with your work life? Because obviously with it being semi-pro, sometimes having to hear that you have to travel up on a Tuesday night, you have to travel up to Newcastle on Tuesday night. It's got to be a bit of a kick, and it's got to have a bigger effect on your work life.
Getting back at that one.
Yeah, obviously, like it affects what sort of jobs you can do. At the minute, I sort of work in schools, and the guy I work for is he's quite flexible, which is good. Really, he's understanding of like obviously I have the odd game away. We have trips away to obviously Belgium, Valencia coming up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm usually fine getting time off work with that. But obviously, it does affect what sort of jobs you can do, really. So I have to sort of look at what hours I can do. So I'm going to need like the odd Tuesday off. It has to be done by about 4:30, 5 on Tuesday and Thursday to get to training. So yeah, it does have a big effect. Like.
Well, you mentioned the trip to Belgium. Then did you enjoy the trip to Belgium?
I enjoyed the trip to Belgium, other than the last 5 minutes of the game, for obvious reasons.
I know. I don't think you were a red personally.
Oh, I hardly touched him, really, didn't I? He went down easy.
And friendly, you don't expect to be giving out a red card like that, do you?
Yeah, I know, yeah. But yeah, the trip it's a lovely place. Ansett was where we stayed. We had a few drinks after, which was a good laugh. So yeah, I enjoyed it really.
Saw you in the bar after the game, didn't I?
Yeah.
Dante.
That's the main thing there.
That's some of the things that you don't get at other clubs, isn't it? Seeing the team in bar after a game, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that really makes FC the club it is, doesn't it?
So yeah, you froze then. Yeah, it is unique. Like I say, and even league clubs, you don't get that sort of experience really, do you? You might get the odd pre-season trip away. But yeah, it is class. Like obviously we've had quite a few now, haven't we? Warsaw, Milan.
Rimini were the best for me. I think that
Rimini was very good. Yeah, I stayed out there for a few days, so I really enjoyed that. Like.
I went for a full weekend. Nothing will beat that. On holidays, we actually went to Detroit a few years ago. FC. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
That was probably the best experience.
Yeah, I bet that was good though.
Because it weren't.
Hopefully we'll see more. If we get to the final, obviously this year it might be a different location.
I think it is in Rimini again, though. I think from what I've heard.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh, do you know?
I might know something you don't know. Maybe not confirmed yet. But
we won't make you tell it on camera, but we will make you tell it us off camera.
Okay, that's fine.
But we're only kidding.
So the Phoenix Trophy, how do you feel like it measures up, sort of thing? Because it is an official European competition. It's an official trophy, so you can actually say that you have won a European Cup.
Yeah, that's a good thing to say, really, isn't it? Like,
you tell the kids when you've won a European.
What's that, sorry?
You tell, like when you're going to schools, you like say to the kids, "Oh, I won a European trophy last week."
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, they don't know the difference today, to be honest. But yeah, it's good. Like you say, it's unique. Like not at any other club, you don't really get that. Obviously, the majority of the teams we play aren't the best. I would say it's been better this year.
Yeah,
I think obviously the Brethren who played, they were not a bad side really.
Well, the team from Poland were awful.
I know, yeah, they weren't the best, were they? But yeah, they enjoyed it. They had a great day out then.
Yeah,
speak to them bar after they love the game, even like despite the result and that. Like, it was a good laugh. Like, wasn't it really?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Even then, though, like I was said about the fan FC taking more fans to away games, we even do it in the European games. Like we took more fans to Beveren. I think Beveren had fans, to be honest. You know what I mean? So
yeah. That's what I mean. The first one we had in Poland, I was shocked how many people like came out. Like, obviously they had quite a good following as well. Like, all like the flares and smoke bombs. That was class, really.
Milan were the best one as well. Well, Rimini were the best, but Milan I think we brung the most.
Yeah, Milan, like the stadium and everything. Obviously the city is amazing. Like, it was class, really, wasn't it?
I think we were close to about 700, 800 in Milan, weren't we?
Yeah, mate, it was crazy. Like, wasn't it really? Obviously, it was like. You couldn't really tell, obviously, because the stadium was so big. You couldn't really get a gauge on how many were there. But it was a decent. It was filled out quite well, I thought.
Yeah, and it's even like obviously because as fans you probably see it as well. But our around the city, you just see people and you're like, because obviously
it is crazy, isn't it, really?
That's
what I mean. Even all day through in the airport, because we also get dead early flights. So we're up from 3 in the morning. Then we see people in the airport get on the plane. Have a bite to eat, and then the game comes out, really. So it's long days, but they're really good,
yeah, stuff. Just you can't beat it, can you?
No, definitely
not. So anyway, on that note, we've come to an end. So we'd like to thank you for coming on and spending some time today. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
You've had a great chat. Yeah. We're tuning in again soon for more special guests, and thanks for watching. When you don't